Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name's Tanya, and if you are new to our channel, I am so glad you found us. And we cook a lot here. We do some other things, but mostly it's cooking. If you are one of those people who have been with us since the beginning, I'm glad you came back because today's soup is something really special. It's one of those things, it's just a comfort food simply because it's thick, it's cheesy, and I can't get enough of it when I start eating it. When you tell people this is called spinach mushroom bisque or just a hearty spinach mushroom soup, they kind of go, oh, yeah, what else is there? And then they come back to this because it is just that good. So I want to share this recipe with you. Let's go back in the kitchen and we'll show you how to make this in no time. I mean, it's a quick soup to throw together. Once you have everything, you know, kind of chopped up, sliced up. I've grated the carrots and I've chopped the onions already, but we're going to put this together and we'll see how quick it goes together. So come with me. Here we are back in the kitchen. I wish my lighting was as good here as it is in the living room in the afternoon. It's better in the morning, but it's not morning time right now. It's in the afternoon, but we have some friends coming over for dinner tonight and I thought I'd make this soup, but I had to get errands run this morning or I'd have done it when the light was better in here. We just got back in town from being in London for last week. Woohoo to us. Actually, yoo-hoo to my daughter because she graduated with her master's degree and we went over there for the graduation ceremony and that was a lot of fun. I hadn't been to London in, I don't know, almost 35 years. So it was impressively improved. I will say that. When we were over there before, you would see the double-decker buses, which were everywhere, and they just had this black smoke rolling out of them, and we'd go back to the hotel at night, and there'd be black, looks like flakes of things all over your skin. You just have to shower it off, so I was thinking it was going to be the same, but they've gone to electric vehicles over there, and they're just quieter and cleaner, and it was just an all-around pleasant experience. We had a really good time, so it was cold over there, and I was glad to come back home, so that's always a good thing, too. So, all right, we have our saucepan here, and I have about 2 tablespoons of butter heating up in this saucepan. So over here, I have pretty much most of my ingredients, kind of a comprehensive pile of what's going to go in here. So we have our butter in here, and I have cut up 8 ounces of mushrooms. These are just organic white mushrooms. If you have cremini mushrooms, that's great, but these are white mushrooms. And I do not rinse my mushrooms with water. I simply brush off or pick off the little pieces of dirt, which looks like potting soil to me. I mean, it really doesn't look like dirt, but it's a soil of some kind. Seems like a mushroom is kind of like a sponge, and when you wash it off, it soaks up most of the water that you're trying to use to rinse it with, and I don't want a wet mushroom. I want it dry, especially when we're sauteing it. Now I have this on kind of medium-high heat over here. I also have a little over half a cup of grated sweet carrot, and I have about a half a cup of just onion, and I've diced it quite finely. So we're going to put that in there. I started to say ignore the stuff on the counter over there because I have my mixer out, but that's not really a distraction. I just have some bread rising in the bowl. Because we have to have rolls with this. This is very creamy and cheesy and thick. And even people who say, I'm not a fan of spinach, they will be when they eat this. I can almost guarantee it because I've seen it happen. We had a kind of a group. I don't really know what we were doing that night. I think we were just hanging out. Everybody decided to bring different things that go with soup and different kinds of soup. So I signed up to bring this soup and thinking they might not like it. I don't know, but I'll just make a batch of it. We'll bring home whatever's left over and eat it. Well, there was nothing left over. It was just that good. I think one person tried it and they're like, you know how you get around your friends, did you try that soup over there? And they all tried it and it was gone. All right, I'm reading my recipe as I go here. It's been a while since I've made this. Okay, we're gonna cook this until the onion gets clear. I'm gonna put just a tad of salt in this because I want that to sweat the moisture in it to where it's present and it can cook that onion. The steam from the moisture coming out of everything else will help cook that onion a little bit quicker. Now this will sit on my stove top. Let's see what time it is. And I've got my timer on, so I can't tell. Right now it's about 3:30, and we'll be eating between 5:30 and 6. So this will be sitting on the stove top for a little less than 2 hours before we eat it tonight, and that's totally fine. Just don't leave it on a hot burner because it has enough dairy products in there where it could scorch. It'll stick to the bottom and scorch if you're not careful. But you can keep it on just residual heat burner on your stove top. Or if you have a slow cooker, you can put it in that and keep it on warm. All right, that salt really brought out the moisture in that bit of mushrooms that we had, so there's plenty to make that onion cook. All right, next step, we are going to add our chicken broth, and this is just a jar of chicken bone broth. You can see how I label it. The little O at the top just stands for organic, and this is the homemade bone broth that I made recently. It calls for about 14.5 ounces, but this is a pint jar, and that's what I'm using. If you need this soup to be gluten-free, if you've got someone that's gluten intolerant and needed to be gluten-free, when we come to the part where we add our flour and milk together to pour into this, and the milk will, the milk and flour mixture will make it, it'll get thick once we cook it. You're welcome to use a brown rice flour in place of the wheat flour, and it should have the same results because it's going to cook long enough to where it'll soften up those grains of the rice flour. We're going to put our spinach in there as well right now. This is just a package of organic spinach, and this is 5 ounces of spinach. Now, if you have frozen spinach, that's fine. Let's see, this calls for 1.5 cups of frozen spinach, but you want to thaw it and squeeze it out to drain it because you don't want all that moisture in there. But I'm using fresh spinach, so I'm just making up my own rules here since it's my recipe. This is not the first time I've used fresh spinach in it. I've done this before. funny because when you add the fresh spinach, you think this is not all going to fit in there, and then all of a sudden you put the lid on it and cook it a while, and you look back in there and go, where did it all go? Because it really cooks down nicely. We're going to use every bit of this container of spinach. Totally empty. All right, we'll put the lid on that. Our heat is still up to about medium high, so we'll let that cook for just a bit and it'll get cooked down. I have an 8-ounce package of Swiss cheese here. There's my Swiss cheese. And so you're going to need 4 ounces of it, so just cut it in half. That's the part we're going to grate. If you need this to be vegetarian, you're also welcome to replace the chicken broth with a vegetable broth. And I've never had it that way, so I can't tell you how it's going to taste, but I can only assume that because the rest of the ingredients are, especially the cheese, kind of overpowers the flavor of the liquid in there, that it would still taste really good. We're going to put nutmeg in here as well. So get those out. The big ones always want to come to the top, so I have to get my little one out. If you don't know what a nutmeg is, they look like this. Looks like a pecan, kind of. But you just grate the whole thing with a grater that looks like this. Most of these have handles on them, but I just happen to have one that doesn't. I think mine's so old they didn't realize you could put a handle on it and it'd work better. But these are called microplane zesters. And I'm just going to grate this right on top of the cheese. Number one, so I can see how much I have on here. It's just easier to see when you grate it on something light colored. And number two, cheese is going to go in there anyway. So I would say less than 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg. You don't want to overpower it with nutmeg, but it does give it a really nice flavor. It just goes with the spinach and the mushrooms and the Swiss cheese beautifully. Okay, girls, move down. All right, we're going to turn our heat down just a little bit here. I'll turn it down to about medium. This also calls for a little bit of black pepper. that's cooking down nicely. Now we need about 1/4 cup of flour. And I'm gonna add this to the milk. This is not something I'd normally recommend. I normally say add a liquid to the flour, not add flour to the liquid, because it gets really lumpy, but you're gonna cook it anyway, so that should be fine. And I'm gonna just eyeball my 1/4 cup of flour. We'll get a whisk and whisk it. Make sure I'm not missing anything. I'm reading the recipe over there on my book, so it says combine the milk and the flour and whisk until smooth. Add it to the spinach mixture, cooking and stirring until thick and bubbly. So that's what we're going to do. You want to make sure you leave a little bit in the cup and kind of stir it around, because that flour will settle to the bottom and then you won't have any liquid to wash it out. Okay, I think we got it all out of there. I think there's a squirrel outside. And Lacey has spotted her. I'm going to show you what she's doing. Lacey, do you see a squirrel? What is it? Is it a bird? Is it a kitty cat? What is it? She gets so annoyed with stuff outside. It's like, that's my patio. Do not get on my patio. All right, it says stir this until thick and bubbly, so we're going to stir it till it's thick and bubbly. May take a while. Okay, I also have 4 ounces of cream cheese over here, and that's what it looks like. Put that in there and stir it around too, and it should dissolve into that pretty nicely. You want to make sure you do stir and cook this until it gets thick. Don't miss that part. Don't think, okay, it's fine, it's hot. It doesn't matter if it's hot. It has to cook it until it's thick, because you want to cook that flour in there. Otherwise, you get that raw flour taste, and you won't like this. But just like making a gravy or a roux or anything like that, you're going to cook that raw flour taste out of it, and then it's fine. It tastes like something you're supposed to be eating at that point. Otherwise, you'll take one bite of that and go, what is she having me make here? I just wasted this. Keep cooking it till it gets thick. Okay, I need to shake my rolls, so I'm going to let this cook for just a bit, and it should get bubbly. Hopefully I'll catch it before it bubbles over. Okay, I think we've achieved our thickness goal here. I'm hoping that you can see that clearly. And then we're going to add our cheese, which has our nutmeg on it. And again, that was 4 ounces of Swiss cheese. So we had 4 ounces of cream cheese, 4 ounces of Swiss cheese. And now we can turn our burner off. And I'm going to let this stay here on that warm burner and just stay warm until we're ready to eat later on. So that's it. I'll get a shot of this when we get ready to serve it. But otherwise, I thank you for joining us, and we look forward to sharing something again with you real soon. See you.